It's 1995, in the country of Denmark. Two men, Lars von Trier
I understand Hitler.
and Thomas Vinterberg, have an idea. Inspired by earlier movements of decades past, they decide to draft up a set of rules and regulations that apply to making movies. Number 1, shooting must be done on location. Number 2, all sound must be diegetic. Number 3, all shots must be handheld. Number 4, the film must make use of natural lighting. Number 5, there must be no lens filters. Number 6, there can be no superficial action. Number 7, the film must take place in the present. Number 8, the movies cannot be of any particular genre. Number 9, movies must be filmed or eventually transferred to the Academy 35mm film format. Number 10, the director of the movie cannot be credited.
Get the fuck out of here.
These restrictions, also known as the vows of chastity, would go on to lay the framework for one of the most important, if short-lived, film movements of all time. This is Dogma 95. After drafting up these vows in 45 minutes, along with a manifesto that was meant to be reminiscent of François Truffaut's Une certaine tendance du cinéma français essay that in part kicked off the French New Wave movement. These two filmmakers were ready to show their revolutionary ideas to the world. In March of 1995, at the Le Cinéma Versant 12e Siècle conference in Paris, the movement was initially met with some skepticism and criticism. In response to this, von Trier and Vinterberg simply said that they wanted to establish a new extreme of raw and stripped-back filmmaking in a world of huge productions and massive budgets. Even years after the Dogma movement has ended, people still constantly try to break the boundaries of what it means to make a movie. People nowadays are extremely sick of the generic Marvel movies and nostalgic cash grab nonsense. This motive was the same thing that fueled the Dogma 95 movement back in the 90s. The concept and ideas that these two filmmakers came up with were incorporated into some of their productions even before they started making Dogma 95 movies. Lars von Trier's 1996 outing, Breaking the Waves, is considered to be one of the first movies inspired by these ideas. It doesn't fully stick to every rule set out by the vows of chastity, but it still has the general feel of what would come to be a Dogma movie. The first certified Dogma film was released in 1998. This movie was Thomas Vinterberg's 1998 film Festen, also known as A Celebration here in the States. The film immediately established the groundwork for what a Dogma 95 film would look like and could look like. It was shot on consumer mini-DV cameras with strange and disorienting lenses, shot compositions, and camera movements. The movie takes on a very stripped-back and grungy aesthetic. This also continues to the stories and ideas presented in many of the other Dogma movies, which often explore uncomfortable and strange parts of reality in a very naturalistic and simple way. Von Trier's entry was the second film officially accepted into the movement, known as Idioterne. The movement soon spread worldwide in 1999 with French filmmaker Jean-Marc Barr's film Lovers and American filmmaker Harmony Korine's film Julien Donkey Boy being Dogma number 5 and 6 respectively. The Dogma movement was not simply a movement in the same way as the European New Wave movements of the mid-20th century before it, and the later movements in the 2000s, like the indie and mumblecore movements that came after it. Making a film that incorporated the same style, aesthetics, and techniques was not enough to be considered a Dogma film. Your movie had to be submitted to Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg, and then they would officially certify it under the Dogma Manifesto and Vows of Chastity. And in turn, you get a little certificate that said that your movie was officially a Dogma film. Only 35 movies released from 1998 to 2005 were ever officially considered Dogma movies, with the last one being Cosi ex Caso from Italy. Only one director, Juan Pinzes, had multiple movies accepted into the movement, holding the title for Dogma number 22, 30, and 31. Many filmmakers made things completely unrelated to the original works of von Trier and Vinterberg that started the movement. these filmmakers added their own style and flair and created movies about subject matters that von Trier and Vinterberg never even considered. Movies follow the same rules and stick to the vows of chastity and the manifesto, but they take these vows and the ideas present in the manifesto in completely different directions. Even the first ever Dogma film, Festen, broke rule number 4 of the vows. The movement did end eventually. In 2005, Lars and Thomas both split up. Even though the days of Dogma are officially over, the ideas of the movement still live on. The look, feel, and values of the Dogma 95 movement are ones that filmmakers today still strive for and look to. Dogma 95 was created as a way to break away from the confines of traditional filmmaking practices and just make something without worrying about how audiences would react. All these movies lost a lot of money, and the most expensive film, The Idiots, only made $7,000 on a budget of $2.5 million.
Did you say want?
It is now easier than ever before to make movies, and the Dogma 95 vows of chastity are largely obsolete. The ethos of the movement lives on in the hearts and minds of filmmakers everywhere, as we continue to break boundaries and make something new and original that isn't trying to appeal to general audiences. Even though it doesn't really matter much today, the impact that it's had on the world of film and society as a whole can't be understated. Please consider checking out my other videos and subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.